River West buyers waiting for leverage are running out of time, and sellers are finally having proof. Using December MLS data, two-bedroom, two-bath resale condos in River West are tightening fast. Year over year, median prices rebounded from late 2024 lows and are now back near the 500,000 mark. Signaling demand has returned. Homes are still going under contract in about 6 days and closing right at list, which limits buyer negotiation room. Month supply sits around a month and a half, not overheated, but no longer a buyer's market either. New listings remain below last year's pace, which supports pricing for sellers while forcing buyers to act decisively. If you're buying or selling in River West, timing and strategy matter more than headlines. I'm AD, helping buyers navigate exactly this type of shifting condo market.
Hello. River West urbanism. River West urbanism. Good folks, hello. Another as part of the urbanism series. I'm going to be having this playlist, good folks, in my Neighborhoods of Chicago playlist. That could change the name, but right now we did Noble Square Urbanism as the first one, and this is River West. This is a location that you may or may not have heard is going to be housing the new Bally's Casino. It's small, as I mentioned, but very important strategic neighborhood. And what I like to do with these type, we're going to talk about this market. There was a lot of numbers thrown out there, particularly at the 500 range. I'm going to show you what it was historically last year versus today. Going to talk about the condo market, going to talk about buyer-centric properties, seller-centric properties, and of course, a fan favorite, going to be doing a kind of a walkthrough of the map to show you. You have transit to the north, transit to the south. You have the Evil Expressway, on the east, and central you have actually a bike lane, and I'll show you that bike lane, protected bike lane. So let's go ahead and show the median pricing from December of 2024. We're right now here in January. How this works here with the MLS data. The data that comes out in this month is from the previous month, right? It makes sense. It collects 30 to 31 days of data, and then it's basically is reported in my MLS the 1st or 2nd, with January, probably the 2nd of January is when it's reported. Let's go ahead, bring to the stage. Okay. So as you can see here, back in December 2024, 456,250, just a year ago, was the pricing for this is 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And as always, good urbanists, if you're looking for something else, townhomes, 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, if there's or more, if there's enough inventory, it is usually when you get beyond 4 bedrooms with condos, that inventory is limited. Let me know. Comment in YouTube. I will respond. I look at all the comments and I can provide you that data, whatever data you want. If you're finding this on YouTube, if you're finding this on a clip on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, let me know. I can provide you other property types. But 456, 2-bedroom, 2-bath resale. These are resale condos. And now let me show you. Going to remove that. Let's show this right here is basically today from the past 30 days, 500,000. You're going to see this common thread in these very popular neighborhoods in Westtown, outside of Westtown, River West, Wicker Park, the villages, Ukrainian and East Village, and of course the first video I did, Noble Square. These things are topping out for 2 bedrooms at 500. You have to consider 1-baths. I don't have that data here. There wasn't a lot of inventory, but that's how you're gonna have to look for. You may have to compromise on the bats in order to get into these neighborhoods, but 500,000. And some of the metrics, right? We want to look at month supply. We want to look at list to contract, meaning how quickly a property that's going on the market and the buyer and sellers have a mutual agreement. That's basically that contract. That is a better metric than listing all the way to close. because there could be a lot of variables. People could be paying cash, which you could close in a couple of weeks. People could be financing, which could be 30 to 45 days. This is why list contract is a very important metric that really explains the buyer side demand. So I'm going to pull up, as you can see right here, 6 days. 6 days. And actually, I mean, it's twice as fast from way back here. This is prior to more than a year of 12 days. That is lightning quick. Very few, maybe Andersonville may have quicker than this, but a lot of times they're in that 5 to 6 to 7 median, as you can see, median to take out any outliers ultra fast. So there's great demand in this River West neighborhood. On the seller side, that was a buyer-centric metric. On the seller side, let's remove the list of contract, and I'm going to add in, there we go, 1.5. 1.5 actually, relative to a lot of other neighborhoods, is high. Many, as you've seen, I do a lot of market updates on a month-to-month basis, month-over-month, that are describing year-over-year data. Under 1 month. Here's 1.5. And again, as a quick refresher, what that means is, let's say there were 4.5. Obviously, there's such thing as a half, but based on averages. Say there was 4.5 listings coming active, and you had 3 sales. Then you have this 1.5 months supply. So in essence, it would be, it would take, that's the amount of time it would take for it to completely exhaust that math. 4.5 divided by 3. So it's a relationship of active homes over average sold in a snapshot. This is a snapshot. So as you look over it month over month, you get the trending here. So you can see some of the trending. There were some really, really lows. So relative to other markets, as I said in my intro video, yes, inventory has climbed significantly, versus against other neighborhoods. However, as you see that, even though that has climbed, it is still taking almost $1 million for a 2-bedroom, and these properties are going under contract in 6 days. So nothing to be concerned about. And there's a slight dip over the last couple of months, but 1.5 is, you want that. I mean, a normal market is 5 months, good folks. Because we've had lack of inventory month over month, year over year for quite some time versus like pre-pandemic, we've been in this severe sellers market, which is like 3 and under. And these neighborhoods, there's not on there, but probably the neighborhood off the top of my head, maybe South Loop is close to 3. I have to look at the data. But that's, 1.5 is month supply. And for kind of a kicker, I'll show you the listing inventory. Let's go ahead and add this. This is listing inventory. As you can see here, 38. Nothing really exciting, nothing sexy with this info, but look at the historical where they had 55. So this is what happened. Reduced inventory, quicker on the demand-centric metric of quicker list of contract, less supply, more demand. What happens, right? Naturally, prices elevate. And by the way, you see here interest rates, as I mentioned in the Noble Square video, interest rates month over month are trending lower. Things can happen geopolitically, and what the new Fed chair will decide. But they were below 6, hovering right around 6. Those continue to go down. What do you think is going to happen to pricing? It may bring people into the market. Pricing is going to go up. So just if you are in that market now, reach out to me. I'll have a QR code. That's my logo. My QR code will show up a little later in the video where you can reach out if you want to have a real estate consult, just to have a simple discussion. I'm happy to have a chat. If you are a relocating buyer or a move-up buyer, aka seller, selling a home and moving into a bigger home. So those are the metrics. You've kind of gotten a quick video of the condo market. You've seen some of the quick metrics. If you want anything else in particular, you can see at the bottom of this page here, it's a lot of the stats that I have. But if you want something in particular, or if you want some other metric, I do about 10 to 15 of these quick videos. I'm happy to shoot a personalized video just for you in your neighborhood. Again, you just have to reach out. I'll have my contact information for you, but you can just comment below in whatever social media you're in. I'm happy to help you. Okay, so and I can show you this right here. Bingo. That's the link right there. I'm going to get you a QR code. A lot of you are watching this stuff on your TV. So a lot of times you can that's easier for you just to snap. But that's, if you want to take a snapshot of that, that's the best way. And if you don't want to talk for the whole time, I have email. It's ad@AnantDeoras.com. I'll put that a little later in the video too. Also, a really kind of quick reminder, look below. This is being recorded, but as I've said, leave a comment. I watch all the comments. I go back. This is being recorded, and it will, of course, be uploaded to YouTube for you to watch anytime if you don't have time to watch it now. So just a kind of FYI. So I'm gonna hide that. Okay. Now let's remove that. Okay. So those are the metrics. So let me remove that. What if you see right up in the left, if I'm seeing it as a left upper corner, if you want more shorter form, that is also a very quick way of getting a hold of me. I have short form content, which goes on my Instagram. I have 2 Instagram channels. This is my primary urbanism one. You can go ahead and snap that QR code. It'll take you to my Instagram page. You can subscribe, or you don't have to subscribe. You can message me there. And if you kind of want to see what the content is, just save the page. And if I'm, of course, providing value to you, I would appreciate a follow. So let's hide that. Okay. So now let's go into some of these properties. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to show a couple of buyer-centric properties and then a couple of seller-centric properties before we end this video with the walkthrough map, Google Map. So let's go ahead and share my screen. Share, boom. Okay, let me make sure. Bingo. So this should be maximized. Here's from my MLS. Now, this first property, as with a lot of neighborhoods, some of the attractive properties kind of bleed just outside of the neighborhoods. Excuse me. So this isn't technically River West. This is River North. Very popular, trendy. Most people nationally have heard of this location. So this would be considered in the north, I guess, west section, or at least west section of River North. And this is Layer B, popular building. I want to show you. This is a 1-bedroom, 1-den, $370. Great price. Parking is additional. We'll get to that. This is a style. Now, this is an acquired taste. This kind of a concrete style. This is a loft. You have condo lofts, which I've mentioned in the previous video, which is basically a condo with the drywall ceilings. The drywall goes up in the bedrooms, up to the wall, and you'll have some exposed brick. You'll have this style where you can see here, there looks to be drywall, and then the concrete ceilings, nice high ceilings, of course, with the exposed vents going through here. Nicely done. Of course, traditional TV up on above the fireplace, pretty traditional. Nice old balcony, have some plants out here. This is the city life. This is what a lot of people imagine, the hustle and the bustle. Although this is close to the Chicago River and there's Montgomery Park, it's not as crazy. You're going to hear some honks and some traffic, but it's not as crazy because there's not really a lot of like bar. There used to be a really nice think it was called Japanese, if I remember back in the day. It was a kind of a sleek, modern Japanese spot that had a liquor license. There's some bars, but are not immediately close by here. So you should have some relative tranquility in this condo building. Wow, look at that view. Going through expose, nice basic kitchen kit here with some updated appliances. So some really good items here. So what I wanted to point out here, a little hefty on the assessments, but you do get, I'm going to show you what that it includes. So you can see here on a lot of these MLS listing sheets, all of this is included. So the common insurance, the TV, exercise, no pool, but that's, you do. Sometimes you get what you pay for. Sometimes it all ends up being a personal decision. So that amount will need to be added on. Then you have almost $7,800 of taxes to your mortgage payment, your principal and your interest. So you have to include your taxes here, property taxes. You have to be cognizant of your assessment, and then of course your condo insurance. So you have to look at all that in totality. So it is a major decision versus renting, but decent size, 1,100. So, and 370, 30,000 deeded. What deeded means is it's basically it's ownership, and it looks to be, there should be, as you see here, 2 pins. One pin you will pay your taxes on, and the second one is a pin for your parking. So yes, this is going to be a little confusing, but not only will you have to pay taxes on your, it depends on the condo building. Sometimes you have to pay taxes not only on the space, but additional assessment. Here, the breakout is, there you go. Speaking there, so this is the breakout. 665 is the condo assessment, and then every month there's a 69, 30. And then on top of that, for the condo, you have property taxes, and you also have the parking taxes. So, you don't have to buy, but it's always good to have a spot. And what I do is, if you don't have a car, as we get into the map section, if you're an active person that wants to have not only walkability but bike ability, I'm going to show you. Let's say you don't need the car, but I recommend buying it and doing an offer on all of it and renting it out. You can probably get $200 a month, and that's rental income. Go ahead and rent out that space. There's a lot of people renting their spaces. That would be the option if you don't have a car. But if you do have a car, then yes, you don't have to worry about parking. So this is a buyer-centric, really good one. Now let's go to the second one that I wanted to show. Elevated price. This is still on the market. And it's an elevator building. This could probably use some staging. I believe it's only about 10 days on the market, but it's a pretty substantial, nice floors. It's just really tough at the $549 price point. For me personally, if I was listing this, I would probably, get one of my stagers in here to stage it, or at least do some virtual staging just to give the buyers an idea of envision the space better. Basic kitchen items here, and particularly the bedrooms, right? You just can't envision with the current furniture you have. It's very difficult, and basic bathroom. But that's why we're going on 12 days. As I mentioned, median was 6 days list to contract. Sizing here, 1550, they say. Of course, that's estimate. Relatively similar, 721. Look at those taxes. Of course, bigger property. You're paying almost $9,800 in taxes. They've got the sizing in here, what's included. This does not have that deeded. It should have one, garage. It's probably a signed garage. So those are the two buyer-centric properties. Now let's look at we'll go back here. Here's 520, only a 10K reduction. It took a little longer. Now, this was in what's called the private network, which some agents like to put it in if the seller needs a little bit more time to get the property prepped, but they want to do some light marketing. This is an agent-to-agent network, And that's the kind of cause of this market time. It was in that private network, and then it went under contract during that time before it hit the actual market. So if you need an explanation on that, just reach out to me. I can explain more in detail, but it's for a matter of time of the video. They paid cash here. Let's see what the property looks like. Great location, just north of Grand. And on the map, it'll make more sense. Beautiful kitchen, nice floors, a little narrow. It's a little bit narrow, so it could be a little tight with your furniture. But look at that. Now, as you can see here, this is a busy intersection. This is the Halstead, Grand, and Milwaukee intersection. Be prepared. You're going to hear stuff. So, I would recommend if you're coming from a Boston or a Philadelphia, not a small town where you can hear the crickets, strongly recommend if you're coming from that bigger city, coming to Chicago for a job, you're going to be used to it. If you're, a country mouse coming to be a city mouse, just be prepared. Okay. You're going to hear stuff. So a couple bedrooms, really good pricing, basic, and a shared with a lot of these buildings, beautiful shared private roof deck. Let me see. Floor plan. Oh, so that section is private to you. So that's really good. Not the whole area, but you have a section devoted to. I'm reading this agent copy. New in-unit laundry, newer train furnace, central air conditioning, new windows, available $25K, available, which is extra. They got the parking included. It looks like it. Yes, parking is included. And you would be blown away by skyline views from your main floor patio and your huge private rooftop. So private rooftop, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, good size 1,400 with parking for $435 is amazing. That is amazing. Understanding that, again, the median price was $500. Good folks. Good size bedrooms, 11 by 20 and 11 by 12. So this is good. This is great value. This buyer got a really good value. And apparently the seller was happy. Even this is a seller-centric property. The seller, of course, was happy by agreeing, and the seller got cash. We don't know the seller's situation. So for this particular seller, every seller is unique. It may work. So that's that property. That's 520 Halston. Finally, 710, 14 days, probably even quicker. Like we can see the list date was 8/5. About 12. What's the math on that? 5 and 13 days. Contract on the 18th. Let's check this out. This is a penthouse, which looks like a home, but they've made condos in here. Gorgeous. I love these cathedral ceilings. It really opens up the space, but that's absolutely gorgeous. And you've got room for a little nook there for breakfast. This is 710 Willard. Beautiful, beautiful spot. No wonder it went so quick. Photos are great. Even less than that Halstead property. Looks to come with one space. Look at that, 220. 220 is amazing. But let's see here. What's important with these lower assessments, this is kind of a pro tip. Make sure, particularly if you're working with me, I'm going to be looking at, see where this cursor is, what the reserves are, how the mechanicals are, how the structure of the building is. And of course, 9,000, not much. So any type of major work, and there's only, let's see here, 3 units. So you'll have to pay a special assessment to fund any type of capital improvements. But looks to be everything has been done. Water heater is relatively new. Furnace is relatively new. They replaced this rear metal stairs, which is good. Everything seems to be in order. And let's see the age of the property. Age of the property. Okay, 20 years old. So there doesn't seem to be any info on the roof, at least from these private remarks here, agent remarks. So that would be a question. Of course, whoever this person's agent doing their due diligence, you're coming up to the shelf life. Roofs are typically 25 to 30 years at the most. So obviously they had an inspection done and everything was copacetic, but that's probably something that's going to be on the radar. But look at the price they got, $425. For a penthouse top floor unit. It's pretty good. So that's that kind of trade-off. So those are the properties. So let's go here. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Well, finally, we're going to do a quick, coming up on the time. Again, this is River West Urbanism. Before we get into the Google map, ways to get a hold of me. So I'm going to throw this on here. Up in the upper corner, you see Scan Me. That is my QR code, which goes to my Google scheduler, where you can schedule up to an hour or even more to talk real estate. Simple chat. You could be a year off, 2 years off. Let's get the conversation going. These are my longer form videos. I'm hoping you're enjoying it. I've just started this channel, restarted this channel with this urbanism focus. 13 years in the business, working in the city, primarily in the city, and just about all the neighborhoods. You name the neighborhood, I've worked it. Love what I do. Let's have that conversation. That's one way of getting a hold of me. You can so at the bottom right there, you're watching this right now on YouTube, but for whatever reason, if this is a clip you're watching, you can go to, for other videos, you can go to simply to YouTube and go to the search. Don't forget that so it's at relocation with AD, all one word. That is on YouTube. And what else? I will have pinned as a pinned comment. I will have my email. It's simply AD@Anant Deoras. If you can see my spelling in the lower left corner, that's my name. So it's AnantDeorasChicagoRE.com. So AD@AnantDeorasChicagoRE.com. That's email. Again, I'll have it pinned. No need for you to memorize that. Take that off. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring up the Google map of the River West neighborhood. Boom. Let me just make sure I have. Okay. Google Maps. Let's go in here. It's going to take a sip of water. Where are you all from? Before we start here, let me know. Comment below. Do you have you been thinking about a neighborhood focus, or you want the quiet of the suburbs? Because you're not going to get that living in the city. I'm not going to, degrade, there's other words, I guess, the suburbs. I'm technically right now in the suburb, but I live primarily in the city. I have an office out here in the suburb, studio out here in the suburb. But you got to understand, you can see all of these different neighborhoods. It's a different, mentality. It's car optional. I'm going to show you right now how it's car optional, particularly in this River West. But where are you living now? Are you living where you're tired of that car, or you rely on that car? Do you need the car to go out to the suburbs? Let me know. Let me know below. All are welcomed. All are welcomed. So, okay. So here are the boundaries. I have them darkened. So you have here on this western side, you have 9094. On the north side, you have Chicago. The eastern section hugs the Chicago River, and the south is Grand. Now, okay. Just pop in the transit, okay? So if you see in this kind of light greenish, pukish green, you have right here this cursor, you have the Chicago stop, and I'm going to, let's kind of zoom in a little bit. Got the Chicago stop. Very, 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 right here, this Milwaukee, Ogden, Chicago, and down Halstead, Grand, and Milwaukee, very, very congested, car-centric areas that fortunately has those transit stops. So with Chicago and Grand respectively. But up here, I'm going to show you pretty soon on Chicago that Bally's is coming. So as I'm saying, any way you can not necessarily get rid of the car, but just make it more optional is a more benefit to you, to not just you, but to your sanity, So, all right. So how I structure these homes, there's a reason why I picked these 4 homes. So you have over here on the western side, you have I believe this is the Willard. Yep, this is the Willard. You then have up here, you have the 950 Huron, which was one of the buyer-centric ones. Over on the east side, you have that River North, right? It kind of bleeds outside. And then on the south, you have the 520. So you have the transit north and south. As I mentioned, on the western, I think I said eastern in the beginning, sorry. The western side, you have that car, the evil expressway, but hey, people got to work. But the one thing I want to bring out, great transit, but what if you have that bike? So what I have here, I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to click on, I have a section here in my map. I love this Google Maps. Now, I'm not having driving. We were already up against the time. I've had in the previous video, I did driving directions. Very, very simple. If you're curious, just, obviously take a screenshot of the address, throw that into Google, and then you can just say, okay, how far to the Chicago's transit stop, how far to the Grand stop, based upon whatever home you're interested in. And if you need help with that, reach out. So if I click right here, 700 Milwaukee. This whole stretch of Milwaukee in between Chicago and Grand is a protected bike lane. And in my my bike video just came out. Yeah, it came out the day I'm recording today. It came out earlier. So if you go to YouTube relocation with AD, it's the bike lane battle that's dividing Chicago. I talk about the bike map. There's an existing bike map. I'll show you in a little bit where you can say, it'll show you what type of bike option you have. Is it a buffered? Is it does it have a raised? Is it a greenway, right, which doesn't have any protection? It just has the bike lane, and you have to deal with the cars. And of course, the highest form of protection is this protected bike lane, which is what you have right there. So you can get through right on your bike, quick errands, going down Grand. There's a Jewel-Osco, which is a grocery store right around where this cursor is by the Grand Milwaukee, right around in there. Or actually, sorry, maybe down over here by Kedzie, not that far away. So yeah, you have cutting through just about the heart of River West, you have got protected bike lane. So, and I'll show you that map again in a little bit. Obviously, you saw the transit, you've seen the homes. How about, I'm going to click that. Well, you want to see yeah. Here are some options. So, first one, if you want something higher end with cocktails, you got to have stuff to do right in the neighborhood. The Dawson, highly recommend it. It's been a while since I've been there, but it is right, very, very close. I'm going to zoom in here. Where is it? 730. Yeah. So right here, right by the Grand Stop. So you're right by the Grand Stop. And you have the 520 Halstead. Remember what I told you about? Just north of there. You got a couple other options here. So that's the fancy one. I want to click on Clover. I want to skip ahead. I love Clover. The owner is great. This is more of the beer and shot. This is kind of my scene. Beer and shot. Got a pool table in there, very chill, awesome place. So you have those basically right next to each other. And then if you want Italian, I don't think they have food over at Clover. La Scarola, excuse me. Old school Italian right there too. So you've got everything right in this southern portion. If you want something up in the north, this Dandy Crown, bingo. Up north, very close to where I had the protected bike lane. Of course, that was just the address, that whole stretch. So you can literally, you can live by that 520 and take your bike up there. No problem at all. You can live over by the Willard over here and just shoot across. Take your bike. No problem at all. So you have options, right? Car optional living. And finally, Danny's more cocktails. They've got, beers, good beer specials. And finally, of course, the elephant in the room. Gonna click that off. Boom. Over here. 777 Chicago. It used to be the Tribune. This whole area is going to be a billion dollar stadium. I know they're putting up some of the, if you go to my short form on TikTok, that is Chicago_urbanism.ad. Chicago_urbanism.ad is my short form content. I'll be giving highlights and updates on that, the Valley progress. But yeah, gonna have some gambling in a very already congested area. So relying less on the car would be to your benefit if you want to live in this area. So just something to be cognizant. I'm not going to tell you that's good or bad. Your work could be in River North, and you necessarily can't afford River North prices, but you can afford River West pricing. Then you're going to live here. So everyone's unique. If you don't have to live in this area, and you maybe want to be a little away from that madness, then I recommend you going a little west, right? So, or north, but get ready. It's coming here. It's kind of difficult to, I can go in there one more, right over. It's right over. Oh, bingo. I have the little dice right here. So it's right here. This whole area will be developed as Bally's Casino. That's that elephant in the room. So, okay, well, that's it. We talked about the condo market for River West. We talked about buyer-centric and seller-centric properties, and we closed with the map of the River West neighborhood of Chicago. Before we go, as I promised, I'm going to show you. Let me make sure I still have it. Okay. I'm going to show you the bike map. Let me make sure I minimize me. Bingo. So you can see that second from the left, existing bike network. I'm going to share. While that pops up, I believe I have it. Yeah. Complete streets. So scrolling at the bottom of the page, good folks, is the website to the that is to the bike. That's a Complete Streets bike program, and in there you'll be able to find this map. So I'll keep that going. So, for example, what I did was I typed in 700 because I knew I was doing River West, 700 North Milwaukee. The 42 is that zip code, and see what it does. So it brings up in River West, and you see this blue. You go up here, look at the legend, protected bike lane, and that stretches all the way through. It technically goes all the way into the Fulton River. You can go, and then it goes, that goes more kind of north-south, northwestern to southeastern. Then it shoots over all the way east into River North. But yeah, right here is your any address you can put in here. So as you're looking at properties, hopefully I get to represent you. I'm honored to represent you. I have that privilege. We can look. You can give me the addresses that you like, some of the properties as you're kind of making short lists, or just starting out looking at properties, and we can throw them in this existing bike network. And if that is important to you, if you want the protection and the comfort, if you've been riding your bike in maybe a small town and now you're coming to the big city, you probably want to protect it. Or if you're a pro, you don't need it. They've got the less protection, the buffered, and of course the neighborhood gateways. So thank you as always for watching. I'm going to be having these type of urbanism neighborhood videos. I hope you're finding value. I really want to hear your feedback, folks, like the structure of it. If it's too long, if it's too short, let me know what you want to see with these neighborhood Once a week, I do the neighborhood, and then the other, I pick a topic within the urbanism, atmosphere, be it walking, biking, transit, anything that affects missing middle housing. I'll have a big one on missing middle. And I may do Chicago missing middle real estate market kind of snapshot, crystal ball. I'm kind of going through some ideas. But if you have any ideas, comment below. Thank you so much for watching the River West Urbanism video.